Hello, and today we'll be playing NeveN. We're going to start chapter 6 now, and Akhet will be the first character for chapter 6. I wake up abruptly, straightening up in my bed. It takes me a few moments to calm down and lie down again as I quickly run my head over my face. By NeveN, I'll never sleep properly with these fucking nightmares. I don't know. By NeveN, I'll never sleep properly with these fucking nightmares. I don't even know exactly what happened in this one, but it's not too hard to guess what it's about. The avatars. For all I know, I dreamt that Kelethon's stoat was ripping out my throat. Please, if one of them is going to kill me, I don't want it to be this one. Even in death, I don't think I could bear the humiliation of being killed by a small musclet. My gaze falls on Akhet, still asleep beside me, and I can't help smiling briefly. I should be concentrating on the positive, and this bird is the most positive thing that's happened to me in years. I draped an arm over the falcon, hugging him tenderly before pressing myself against him. He is moving, and for a moment I fear I've awoken him. But he simply snuggles against me, and I fall asleep again. The streets seem even livelier than they are on other days, which is logical, I suppose, as it's the last day of the festival. People still want to enjoy it while they can. Not to mention all the merchants who will be lowering their prices to try and make one last profit. Akhet is next to me, and fortunately, on my nerves, his buying spree seems to have subsided since yesterday. I'm not sure I could have stopped him from buying half the town for a second time. No, today he remains quietly beside me, his talons firmly locked between my fingers, a change I see no reason to complain about. You were very cuddly this morning. I didn't know you didn't like it. I suppose I can stop. No more cuddles for you, Birdie, I reckon. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that it's unusual. Not unpleasant, just different. I have a nightmare, and cuddling you helped me go back to sleep, that's all. Again? You've been doing a lot of that lately. Are you sure you're alright? No doubt it's stress. Even I feel that my answer is in no way convincing, but I can't tell him the truth, and I really don't like lying to him. I don't want to force you to talk about it if you don't want to, but it's not my fault, is it? What? You know, with Viggo and everything, if it's because I'm reminding you of him too much, we can take some time in. No, I assure you, everything's fine as far as that's concerned. I haven't thought about Viggo for several days now. I promise. You've got nothing to worry about, alright? Don't think like that. I lean down to gently rub my muzzle against his beak as she relents with her brief smile. I just want to make sure everything's okay. I'm fine. I promise that we're perfectly fine. If you say so, we are mind to disagree. Good. I would have been miserable if I had to sleep without my big feathery pillow again. Is that all I am to you? It's certainly one of my many advantages. I stick my tongue out at him before taking a slightly bouncier step forward. Hey, wait, I got something else to tell you. Oh, I'm listening, my lovely blanket. Eric. Sorry. I bet a seriousness now and then can do you some good, you know? Sorry's not my thing. My Tesla, sometimes I wonder what I'm going to do with you. Anyway, I wanted to tell you that we've been invited by Lady Asid. What, when, and why? In the morning. While you were finishing changing, she invited us to tea this afternoon. As in both of us? Yes, both of us. That's strange. I would have thought she wouldn't want to see me until she had to, especially after everything that's happened. You mean what happened between you and her fiancé? Yeah, I destroyed her mirrors, Akhet, and while I know how the Count felt about her, I have no idea how Astrid felt about him. It's very likely that I'm not her favorite person right now, but you're also the royal bard, and I don't think her pride will allow her to ignore what you represent. What we represent. Don't forget that's your title too. Yeah, I'm not the one who's been invited to the council. It's probably simply because you're a Macadian. Give them a bit of time. Oh, I don't mind. I'm not really interested in the political side of the job. Really? And you think I am? There's no way you're going to leave me to muddle through this whole thing on my own. If I have to put up with councils where we discuss the maximum amount of wood traded per year between two nations depending on the amount of marble produced and distributed, I can assure you that you'll have to face it with me. The quantity of what? I don't know. I didn't understand it either. I think it's some trade thing between Gazal and phosphate they talked about at the last council meeting. You can clearly see that I need you in there. I'm going to go crazy if I'm the only person who doesn't understand anything. After a brief moment looking at me dumbfounded, Akhet burst out laughing, clearly unable to control himself. Hey, sorry, it's hard to take you seriously when you scout like that. You're just so cute. You laugh again. No way, I won't allow you. I can absolutely be taken seriously. I'm capable of being as fierce and angry as any. Try to look menacing, which seems to make Akhet laugh even harder. After a few moments, I can't help but join him. The absurdity of the situation finally getting to me too. Someone's having a good time. I jump as I hear Vikad's voice echoing behind me. Fuck, you gave me a fright. That wasn't my intention. Hello, Vikad. Hello, Birdie. Birdie, that's a new one. I don't think I've ever heard him give a cat a nickname before. Alright, so what are you two up to on the streets of our beautiful city? Oh, you know, enjoying the last day of the festival, visiting the last stalls, that sort of thing. You've really got some lovely little spots around here. Really, that's absolutely fascinating. Akhet gives me a sidelong glance, and it's not hard to see why, because remark is full of sarcasm. Oh, you alright? You seem a bit on edge. Long night hunting and preparing stuff for the nobles, that's all. I guess that plays a bit on my mood. Oh, you were going back to the castle to rest, I suppose? We wouldn't want to hold you up any longer than necessary. I could spare a little time to talk to my two favorite orders. Not to mention that I'm a bit worried about you too. What do you mean? Two nobles on their own in the streets of Phosphane, one of them bearing the brand of NeveN, the other being a Macadian sire. A lot of people might want to try their luck against two celebrities such as yourselves. You have no escort. But we are well protected. Rowan or another bodyguard is probably out there somewhere watching what's going on. He already had to intervene once to chase Sven away. Ooh, well, in that case, I suppose all my worries are over. I could not be more reassured. The stag offers us a smile before glancing around briefly. I suppose I'd better be off. As you so rightly noted, I was on my way back to rest. The fatigue is beginning to show. In that case, I wish you a pleasant rest. Thank you. And you, carry on having fun while you can. Thanks, and bye. After a final nod, the stag disappears back into the crowd, along his antlers protruding clearly above the heads of the bystanders. Can we agree that he was acting weird? I must admit that he wasn't really behaving in his usual way, but he said he was tired, didn't he? Yeah, but I don't know. Something was off. I'm sure it's nothing. I hope so. Anyway, I don't want to have to worry about Vikad on top of everything else. Stop worrying. He said everything was fine. No great problems that don't exist. Sorry. It's a bad habit, I suppose. It's up to me to find a way to get rid of it. Akhet smiles at me before carefully rubbing his beak against my muzzle. He's right. I simply focus on what's happening right now, and also on the problems I know about, like Asid's invitation, for example. I really don't want to go. Are you sure it's a good idea? Eric, we don't really have a choice. She's invited us. To refuse now would be to humiliate her. I doubt that's what you're looking for. No, you're right, but I still doubt it would be pleasant. And get my figure. No, you're right, but I still doubt it would be pleasant. I keep my gaze fixed on Astrid's door for a long moment. I'm not looking forward to spending God's only know how much time enduring her wrath in private. I doubt she invited us over for a simple afternoon of darking biscuits and coffee. So it is with a sigh that I knock on the door, only to see it open almost immediately, leaving me face to face with an unfazed bulldog. Your guest, ma'am. Perfect. Thank you, Berthold. You may leave us. I wish to speak to them in private. Of course, ma'am. Good day to you, gentlemen. Without another word, the dog leaves. Don't just stand there. Come and settle in. Well, too late to change my mind. As I enter what I think is her bedroom, I realize that in reality this appears to be more of a small lounge. An extremely richly decorated lounge at that. I have the impression that there is gold or jewelry on all the furniture. I suspected she was rich, but still, it's almost ridiculous at this point. Akhet doesn't seem the least bit shocked by what he sees, however, and quietly takes a seat opposite Astrid, who is waiting for us, propped up in a sofa with lots of cushions and 3 cups of tea on a table in front of her. Welcome to the Royal Barge. Winners by default of an interrupted contest. I see we're off to a good start straight away. Good morning, Lady Astrid. Astrid, you were sorry about the contest, but the poodle raises her hand to interrupt my companion. It's not really your fault, I know, not to mention that I'm not an idiot. I saw your performance 2 days ago, and at the contest I don't think I would have won, even if I'd have a chance to sing myself. I just wanted to remind you of the state of things. If I'm able to see events as they are, unfortunately, that's not the case for everyone. Some people are angry with you for a victory they don't think you deserve. And you think I don't know that? I'm the first to feel that I don't deserve my place here. Eric, but we're not here to dwell on the past, nor to confront each other. Quite the opposite. What? I thought you wanted to talk about the whole thing with the Count of Kelt, my former fiance. Yes. You still understand, Lady Astrid, that Eric is very sorry for everything that happened. The poodle lets out a sigh, and for the first time since I've known her, the impassive smug look disappears from her face. She looks both tired and relieved. Our engagement was never an act of love. It was purely political to bring our families together. The Count has always been honest about his preferences, and the fact that he was pursuing other lovers didn't bother me. So, what was the problem? If you agreed, why would you have us chased out of town? Because there was a condition to it, something you don't seem to understand, which makes everything about this situation complicated. I have a feeling I'm going to be either extremely flattered or terribly insulted very soon. Discretion, Eric. All I asked for was discretion. And this fool finds nothing better to do than to be caught breaking a noisiest board in the kingdom back to an end room. Yeah. She's not entirely wrong about that. You have a hard time not being noticed. It's literally my job to be noticed. A little restraint now and then wouldn't do you any harm. I can be perfectly secretive when I want to be. I can't believe they think I can't do it. And I can't. You're supposed to be on my side in all this. Anyway, the problem isn't that my former fiance decided to do what he did. What forced me to act was that he managed to make sure everyone knew about it and had to react to his humiliation. And so your wrath fell on my band and me? Well, I certainly wasn't going to chase the Count off his own domain. So that's it? It all happened because he got caught? In terms of politics, it's more than enough to cause major problems. I suppose it is, but I'm still sorry. That wasn't my intention. The poodle smiles at me briefly before taking a sip of her tea. I suppose I can overlook the humiliation, especially as, in the end, it was all for my benefit. What do you mean? I wouldn't have come to Foxfang if it hadn't been for this, and I certainly wouldn't be in the position I am today. A moment's silence follows as I try to work out just what all this means. I didn't expect Astrid to be so no answer in the matter. Instead of the fury and rage I expected to find, I'm faced with admittedly a degree of anger but tinged with opportunism. The world of the nobility is very different from my own. But as I said, we're not here to dwell on the past, we're going to talk about the future, especially yours. After all, you're an anomaly, and the royal court hates nothing more than protruding nails it can't hammer. An anomaly? What are you talking about? A duo of bards who come out of nowhere we know nothing about. They have no allegiances. We know nothing of their political convictions, and all we know is that one is a commoner from a god-forsaken village, and the other is a Macadian nobleman. You are unpredictable. You sow chaos in everyone's plans. How can you take account of someone you know nothing about, but who nonetheless occupies a central position close to power? Every time Akhet speaks like that, it hits me. He's a nobleman, though he's never been directly involved in anything as big as Foxfang's court. He has some familiarity with it all and probably understands the situation far better than I do. It's high time the situation changed. We can no longer allow you to wonder if at least you had shown some real closeness to one of the important names in the kingdom. And I suppose it's your side we should join. To put it as clearly as possible, yes, it's not just in my interest, it's in yours too. Don't you already have enough influence? All the nobility is behind you. After all, I'm not sure what more we could bring. I wish it were that simple. If it's anything like Akhet, the nobles are rarely united. I told you there were several big sided families, each in charge of a branch of slavery, didn't I? I remember something like that, yeah. From the outside, they're a united front. They seem to get along, but it doesn't take much to see that they hate one another and do everything in their power to diminish each other's influence. I have seen father rejoice in the deaths of dozens of slaves because they belong to a rival family. And although we're not there yet, it is the same in Foxfang, yes. I speak on behalf of the nobility to the kings, but the reality is mostly that I'm trying to keep the nobles in check for Lust and Aeon. I make sure they don't walk the boat. Something tells me that with Mabel's actions during the festival, it can't be easy. It made things considerably more difficult. The main three groups of nobles are at each other's throats, each with a different opinion on this execution. The three groups, I suppose there's the old nobility and those who earn their titles under the new kings, but who are the third? Macad's sympathizers. Few in number on their own, but they make up for that with pretty impressive wealth. They are old and new nobles alike, but they all want to reduce the surveillance of the borders that separate us from our neighbors to the south, the lure of easy riches from exploitable labor. Akhet's voice almost surprises me. He doesn't even try to hide his bitterness. What about you? Which of these groups do you belong to? None, and all at the same time. They all have their flaws, but they're all right about some aspects as well. I try to maintain a balance to keep them under the control of the crown, which is far from simple. That's where you come in. If we can make it clear that we are on good terms, it could greatly simplify my work while offering you opportunities for alliances and negotiations with the nobles. As long as it's done with a minimum of subtlety, of course. Something tells me that last sentence was intended for me personally. I don't see why because of what you represent, rather than because of your actual power. You are the perfect example of what the new nobility, the one established by Aeon and Love, should be. You earn your title through merit, whatever you think of it. whereas I am a representative of Akhet. Whether I like what's going on there or not makes no difference. Just as I am a daughter of the old nobility, surface appearances often count more than the reality of the situation, so the three of us could calm the factions and ensure better control of the country, but by simply showing that we're working together, that sounds a bit too easy. Because it would be. If that's all it was, that's all I ask of you. But I'll have to take care of the rest. We all can't live as innocently as you do. That's why I would have preferred someone who was a bit more used to the political game in your position. Is that what all the fuss was about at the party before the contest? It was all for political wheeling and dealing? I admit I could have been more tactful as opposed to insulting all your competitors as well as the profession. Anyway, if I have to admit I'm wrong, I don't intend to be the only one to do so. So be it, you're right, I shouldn't have acted like that, and I must apologize for the way I presented things. I must also admit that I was under the influence of a fair amount of alcohol which clouded my judgment. So even the nobility gets hammered at our little gathering. I bear a brand of fury, Eric, but that doesn't mean I'm cold-hearted. A brief smile stretches Astrid's lips, and I feel myself doing the same. Perhaps in different circumstances, she and I might have been able to get along. If I may ask, even if we were to accept this alliance, how do you intend to put it into practice? Oh, if the idea is to make it look like we're all getting along, it shouldn't be too complicated. Really? I'm curious to see what you could come up with. Well, as I was saying, it's quite simple. We're all bards. All we have to do is perform, the three of us. The silence that follows my brilliant idea isn't exactly the reaction I was expecting to get. I'm sure it will work, though. Everyone would know that there are no hard feelings between us. I understand the idea, Eric, but perhaps something a little more subtle. Maybe later, or if we really need a bit demonstration. I was thinking of something simpler to start with, like being seen together at celebrations and dinners. Now that you've been officially introduced to the world at the festival, no doubt the invitations will come. We'll just have to turn up at the same venues and look friendly. I'm sure that's within your capabilities. I'll have you know that I'm always friendly and take everyone I hope you know that I'm always friendly and that everyone likes my personality. There's a new silence and I'm starting to think they're trying to irritate me. I think I'll spend some time teaching him court etiquette. It might come in handy. Thank you for that. You know I can hear you. Oh, absolutely. He's giving me an amused grin, you little. Oh, another tiny detail, and this time it's about you, Akhet. Me? Yes, I have received intelligence that a new delegation from Akhet is heading for Frostfang, and extraordinarily, this time a Wither is coming to visit us. A Wither? But they never travel outside the country except in times of war. That is my understanding indeed, but it seems that this is due to a particular interest on her part. She wants to find out about you. About Akhet in particular. What is her name? Akhet's voice is trembling, and when I turn to him, he looks frightened. What's the matter with him? Akhet, are you alright? The Wither, what's her name? Akhet? I try to reach out, but he pushes my hand away. His gaze entirely focused on Astrid. She seems as confused as I am about what's going on, and just replies, It's a Wither, Makira. Akhet suddenly turns pale. I never thought it was possible to see that under all his feathers, but it seems I was wrong. Akhet, talk to me, please. What's going on? Lady Astrid, please excuse me. I'm afraid I have to go. No worries. Without really waiting for an answer, Akhet gets up to leave the room. While I look at him, bewildered, I'm not sure what all the commotion means, except that his past is catching up with him again. Sorry, Astrid, but I have to go and see if he's alright. I understand. And Eric? What? Thank you for apologizing. Now, you should go and look after your companion. He seems like a nice person. I hope it's nothing serious. Yes, I hope so too. I'm leaving the room immediately to look for Akhet. Obviously, he didn't hear me in the corridor. That would have been too easy. Think, Eric. Where could he be? Where in the castle did your birdie hide? Oh, of course. As I expected, Akhet is sitting on a bench in the middle of King Lus's garden. There's no one here at this hour as the sun begins to set. He's holding his head between his talons and seems to be mumbling something, probably in Mercadian, because I can't understand a thing. Hey, he raises his head. It is obvious he's been crying, so I just sit down next to him. For a moment, there's nothing but silence between us. Despite my mad desire to ask him questions, I know I know I better give him time. Eventually, he'll explain what's going on. Sorry, why? I shouldn't have gone off like that and left you on your own. Hey, it's okay. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. Besides, I'm not the one who needs help right now. So tell me what's going on. It's the Wathir Marika. I know her. You remember I was talking about Sago and me, right? I told you that the daughter of the Lord I was living with hated me. You mean it's her? I thought that by coming here I could escape her, but see, he pauses, unable to finish his sentence. The situation is different now. You're no longer in her house. She's coming here to your home, to our home. You're the royal bard of Frostfang, and she is just a stranger. She can't do anything to you. And if she tries anything, I have a brand that allows me to freeze people, and I don't have the slightest problem using it on people like her. I gently grasp Akhet's talons, and he offers me a weak smile in return. Is she really that bad? It's complicated. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. It's not that. It's just she was never the worst. She was never the worst to me. Oh, she humiliated me first chance she got and treat me like I was nothing but a slave. But she never really did anything to me, not directly. The Wathir Zahir, her father would never have allowed it. So as soon as I showed any form of affection, friendship, or sympathy towards a slave or a servant, they were punished instead. Saga was the only exception. He was a general's personal slave, so there wasn't much she could do. That's why she eventually found a way to get him to leave. But I don't know what she'd be able to do now. The last thing the Wathir Zahir said to me before he died was to run away to come here, that I shouldn't stay with her. I had to let him talk. I don't think Akhet needs an answer right now. He just needs to let it all out. Between his father and this woman, my oppressive Mercadian nobility is not the most positive. Akhet is more and more of an exception to me. And it's not fair that he should be punished because of it. I can't change what happened, and I'm truly sorry. All I can do is assure you that whatever happens now, I'll be with you. I suddenly feel a weight on my shoulders. Akhet rests his head on it. I was just hoping to leave all that trouble behind when I left. I know, but she's powerless against you, and this is the last time you'll ever have to see her. It's just one last ordeal to get through. I hug him close, resting my head against his. There's a moment of silence between us, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm letting him know that I'm here and that he can count on me. That's all that's important right now. I'm not sure how long we're staying here. Probably less than I think, just long enough for the sun to finish setting, plunging the gardens into darkness. Thank you for being there for me. Always will be. I can offer you that in exchange for the best pillow in the world. A short laugh escapes from Akhet's beak. I suppose that is indeed a worthy exchange, so I'd like to think I'm offering you a bit more than a few feathers to rest your hair on. Oh, don't worry, that's only a tiny part of what you're giving me. I can't stop the rest from escaping my lips. Not to mention that I intend to find out one day if I can't do something more pleasant than sleep on these pretty feathers. As always, the blood quickly reaches Akhet's cheeks I'm glad to see this sort of cheeky silliness continue to work. The next part, on the other hand, I didn't see coming. Who knows, you might be able to find out sooner than you think. Oh, really? I give the cat a big grin, and he blushes even more. Hush up. I just stick my tongue out at him in response. Glad he's feeling better. I much prefer to see him relax. So we stay a while longer, enjoying the gardens as they gradually fade into obscurity. A few servants come to light lanterns, discreetly placed along the paths, leaving, however, a good part of the vegetation in the penumbra. An atmosphere of calm and serenity settles in. King Lust has really done a remarkable job with his garden, and yet when you look at him, you wouldn't think he is up to the task. Eric shows some respect for royalty. But it's true, his outfit is unique. His outfit is certainly something. You both laugh as my gaze roams the nocturnal garden again, ending on a lantern whose flame flickers gently, before extinguishing completely, plunging this corner into total darkness. Suddenly, a shiver runs down my spine. There's something strange about it, as if the flame had been blown out instead of going out naturally. And I suddenly feel as if I'm being watched. Hey, Akhet, why don't we go inside? It's getting late. I'd still like to enjoy the gardens a bit. I don't. The atmosphere that I found serene just a few minutes ago suddenly seemed very different, heavy, ominous, threatening. I got to pull myself together. This is ridiculous. It's just a lantern that's been blown over by a gust of wind. There's a creak, and the direction of the distinguished lantern was much closer. I'd really like to go. To be quite honest, I'm getting a bit scared. Scared of what? I don't really know. It's like there's something moving around in the garden. Maybe it's just my prey instincts kicking in, but please? I suppose we can. A new crate much closer. You heard that, didn't you? It's probably just an animal wandering around. We're inside the castle walls. I can't see what could be dangerous here. A cat's never been good at hiding his emotions. It's clear that right now, even he's a little agitated. But if you're not at ease, we can go inside. That sounds like a great idea. I'm absolutely prepared to look ridiculous if it means we get out of here quicker. The more time goes by, the more the feeling of being watched intensifies. Plus, I'm dead certain that I saw something moving in the bushes, and it was fast. I grabbed a cat's hand to pull him behind me, heading for the nearest building. So I probably look stupid, but right now I don't care. There's something bad there, and briefly there's something right next to me. Two glowing figures in the thicket. No, two eyes watching me, reflecting the moonlight. I can't. I saw that. Don't stop. I didn't even realize I stopped moving. My instincts seemed to have taken over briefly, immobilizing me in place. I can't seem to get myself to move again. There's something about this situation that puts me in a state of total freakout, and I'm unable to say what exactly. Something is tugging at my hand, and it takes me a moment to realize that it's a cat. Fortunately, it makes me conscious again. So we bolted in the direction of the nearest building, an entrance usually used only by the servants. The door is almost within reach, and I feel a breath on the back of my neck. The sensation of the two praying eyes staring at me is stronger than ever. No, they're not staring at me. They're hunting me. Every movement suddenly feels too slow. Every step too spaced. I feel panic coursing through my veins, screaming at me to run, but my legs refuse to obey. And then I feel the door handle under my hand. So I push the cat inside before following him, closing the door behind me and pressing myself against it to block it. And in the moment, I expect something to try to force it open. I expect to feel it trying to force its way in here, but nothing. No one's trying to break in. Nothing comes knocking on the door. I turn to the cat, leaning just as I am against the door, panted slightly. After a brief moment of silence, he finally whispers a few words. What was that? What just happened? Honestly, probably nothing. Some kind of animal came past, and because of the dark, we got a bit of a fight. That's it. That's it? That's it. Another moment of silence, and then something rubs briefly against the door. I tense up again and can see a cat doing the same until meow. The falcon and I look at each other, eye to eye. A cat. Did we just run away from the nearest? Did we just run away from the threat of a cat? Alright, I think we did. By NeveN, I really need some sleep. After a brief moment, a snore of laughter could be heard from Akhet's side. This quickly followed by his resounding hilarity. Hey, so it's just that you look so terrified. It was just a cat. You shouldn't make fun of your partner like that. I push him away, which makes him burst out laughing again. I end up joining him. The absurdity of the situation finally hitting me. The royal border Frostfang, NeveN's avatar, terrified by a kitchen cat and a bit of darkness. All this fuss with the avatars has just got me on edge. In this moment of laughter with a cat allows me to let it all go. It's probably going to provide a few rumors for the castle in the process. I'm pretty sure I saw a few servants pass by curious to see what all the commotion is about. Yeah, never mind. And my Sarah burst of laughter when the falcon in the middle of a corridor is the only strange rumor on my account that I'm not doing too badly. I end up resting my head on the falcon's shoulder, gasping as I try to catch my breath. By the gods, I needed that. Me too, I think. He smiles at me, with a rubber his beak against my muzzle, kissing me tenderly as only we know how. Eventually we get to our feet, climbing back up to our rooms in each other's arms, a burst of laughter coming back at us from time to time. He finally arrived at the door of our quarters, and I asked my companion what is starting to be a new customary question. Are you sleeping with me tonight? Well, that's an unusual response to say the least. I take a quick look at Cat's expression, but he seems mostly pensive. What's going on in that pretty hair of yours, buddy? In my room? Communicative, I see. As you wish. I grab his wrist and pull him aside with me, closing the door behind us before throwing myself on the bed. You know, I was thinking about something. Really? I never would have guessed. Are you making fun of me? I wouldn't dare. I love you too much for that. He gives me a brief suspicious look as I put on my most innocent expression. And as always, it works. I'm incredibly good at looking perfectly guileless when I feel like it. Anyway, it's just that I've been thinking about what I said to you earlier. Could you be a bit more specific? We talked about a lot of things. The red rises to his cheeks as he offers me his next response. I was thinking about letting you see you can figure out something more than just sleeping on my feathers. Oh, are you sure? It's been a long day and I think it would be a nice way to end it. I wouldn't suggest it if I wasn't sure. It's just that I don't know if I'll be able to go through with it. Don't worry. We'll stop as soon as you rest. What to do? Yeah, I can't play it on YouTube, so I have to skip the scene. But you look at the thumbnail, you get to see a little bit of the scene. You can download the game and play that scene for yourself. I'm gonna skip it. After quickly cleaning up the traces of our actions, we lie down again in the bed, snuggled up against each other. I just rubbed my muzzle against the cat's neck once again, enjoying the softness of his feathers. I was right. About what? It's a great way to end the day. Something tells me this night will go off without a hitch. He smiles at me again, and I feel a hint of guilt pierce my chest. Even if I slept perfectly tonight, it wouldn't help. It wouldn't help my situation, and Akhet doesn't know I'm hiding something that big from the one I just said I love. I know it's against the king's orders, but I don't want to go on like this any longer. Akhet, there's something I need to tell you. It's important. Nothing serious, I hope. Yes, it is. I'm afraid it is very serious. And I start to tell him everything, the dream, test, the avatars, the nuts role, and the whole thing, and mine as well. The fact that some of them are out of, the fact that some of them are out there and probably want to kill me. I see his smile quickly disappear, replaced by concern. I probably ruined what had so far been a good time, but I couldn't keep quiet. Once my tale is finished, I can't remain silent, thoughtful. Then he plunges his gaze into mine and speaks. And you were asked to keep quiet about all this? Yes. Why tell me then? I couldn't keep my mouth shut any longer. It would have meant lying to you, even if it was by omission. I've already lost someone because I refused to face reality. I don't want that to happen again. I don't know what to tell you. It's beyond me. But thank you for being honest. Now I can see why you've been sleeping so badly. Yeah, and that's probably what the whole cat incident was about, too. I'm just on edge because there's nothing I can do to change the situation. I've got one of the most powerful brands in the kingdom, and I'm not bloody safe with it. Akhet's arms wrap around me, holding me close. If there's one thing I've learned in my training with Father is that it's not the power of a brand that really matters. It's what you train it for and how you use it. My brand isn't very big, and you know how much I can hurt someone with it. Because I was trained to do it, because I was forced to learn it. But for you, it's simply not in your nature. As big as your brand is, as strong as it is, you are first and foremost an artist. Fighting isn't what you do. It's not who you are. So it's normal to be worried. At least I think so. I know that if I were you, I wouldn't be able to move. He smiles fondly at me as he rubs his beak against my muzzle. You know, my reaction has always been to run away. I left home against my quarrel with Vigo. And when Wagor took me in, I thought about leaving several times. Even when those bandits attacked us on that road, all I could think about was a way out for both of us. But he didn't escape after all that trouble. I thought about it, I really did. I nearly left, in fact, abandoning everything to disappear on the roads. And what made you stay then? For once I took the time to think about doing something. It looks like some things can change, doesn't it? I realized that I was protected here. If everyone knows where to find me, that running away wouldn't protect you from an avatar who wanted to come here looking for me. That I wouldn't. No, that I couldn't just leave you behind. You mean too much for me. I've already broken someone's heart but once, and I have no desire to do it again. There's more to it than that, more reasons why I don't want to leave. Not anymore, but I don't know how to express them. It's just a feeling, a longing. I don't want to be who I was anymore. I want to be better for me and for Akhet. I'm obviously glad you stayed, and I'm even happier that you're being honest with me. There's not much I can do to help you. I can only repeat the promise you yourself made to me. Whatever happens, whether these avatars come or not, I'll be by your side. You'll help me kick their asses. They won't even come close to you. A small laugh escapes my lips. I'm sure they're shaking. They better be. I smile as I rest my head on his chest, lowering my ears so they don't cover his face. For all that I love them, these big things can have their downsides in such situations. Akhet slides his talons down my back, scratching me gently with the touch of his claws as he keeps me close to them. I might have something that could take your mind off of it. You're working hard enough on it right now. I forbid you to stop doing what you're doing to my back. I had no intention to stop. You know, I was just thinking that tomorrow we could go back to the inn we went to the first time near the flower shop. You mean the one where you accomplished what I've never been able to do by giving Sven one of the most magnificent slaps I've ever seen. I'd rather I wasn't the first thing that popped into your head. I'd rather it wasn't the first thing that popped into your head. I'm not particularly proud of it. Oh, but I am. It was glorious. Eric, alright, I'll stop. But yes, there. I remember they had a stage and it was relatively quiet. Maybe we could go, just you and me. We could keep it to ourselves and just sitting together. Not as royal bards or representatives of our kingdoms or anything of the sort. Just two bards enjoying the moment. You know what? I think that's a great idea. We just need to find a way to get there without interrupted by someone knocking on my door. Mother gods, what is it again? We're in the middle of the night. I wouldn't go that far, but it's late indeed. At first, I'm of the opinion to ignore the person in front of my door, but then knock again. Lord Eric? With a grunt, I get to my feet and head for the door, abandoning Akhet briefly or so. I hope on the bed behind me. Eric, what? You're not going to open the door like that. You're completely nude. I know, but it's the middle of the night. I'm in my room, and if I want to be naked, I'll be naked. But what will people say? Well, I'm a noble now, aren't I? Technically, anyway. There's no noble without a hint of scandal. Besides, I'm sure you're enjoying the view. I set my ass briefly, which makes Akhet redder than ever. Even after what we've just done, he doesn't seem to be any different. I notice, however, that he doesn't look away. It seems that his embarrassment is not preventing him from enjoying the show. So my noble birdie is interested in my butt. What a useful piece of information. I'll definitely have to use it later. I'm off to open the door without stopping rattling my rump. I've always enjoyed making a spectacle of myself, after all. Once the door is open, I find myself face to face with a greyhound of a certain age who quickly looks me up and down, never losing his impassive expression. I expected a bigger response, as in such an absence of reaction would almost make me feel offended. Lord Eric, that's me. It's the middle of the night. What's going on? I come from the ambassador Tanakh. I have news he wishes to share with you. Tanakh, he'd like to tell me something, but at this hour of the night, it wouldn't bother to come himself. It's strange, to say the least. I imagine it must be important. He wishes to inform you that Lady Simi has been arrested after her public confession regarding the attack on the Mercadian caravan last month. He seemed to feel that this information was urgent. What? I'm sorry, what? Oh, I didn't see you were with someone. It's not. Simi has been arrested. This is the message I was asked to deliver to you and to several other members of the court, so if you'll allow me to... Oh, yeah, off you go. The greyhound nods at me before leaving. I close the door and take a moment to think. This is ridiculous. Simi would never... No, I can't imagine anything like that. They locked Simi up. You don't think she really would have killed all those people? No, not for a second. But I confess, I don't know Akhet. Simi hates the Mercadians. She doesn't really try to hate it, but she's not stupid and she's not unreasonable. I know the talk I had with her was more than pleasant. Exactly, I can't imagine her killing all those people. And then how could she have organized all this operation without anyone noticing? I know she's more than the sweet old lady she appears to be. I'm not an idiot, but the whole thing just seems impossible. But if she confesses, the kings have little choice. Perhaps she's acting to protect someone. That seems the most logical. The only question would be who and why. Does she know something that we don't? I'd like to have just one single day without anything unexpected being thrown at us occasionally. I think that, unfortunately, we gave up that right the moment we accepted our positions as royal bards. That's not going to stop my complaints. I'm afraid that at last they will never stop. See, he gives me a slight smile, and I stick my tongue out at him in response. Then I drop back onto the bed, quickly resuming my position, snuggled up against a cat. Maybe I could try to visit her in the morning. Perhaps she'll agree to talk to me. You won't risk anything by trying in any case. You know what? I'll do that on our way to the tavern. Once I've talked to her, we'll both go and sing. Do you still want to do it? Of course. You said it would do us good, didn't you? And I intend to enjoy all the little pleasures this life has to offer. To be continued. Hello everyone. I hope you enjoyed this chapter. If you want more information about NeveN, feel free to follow us on Twitter. We also have a Discord allowing you to chat among community members. Finally, if you would like to support our project, we also have a Patreon that offers you a series of benefits such as bills 2 weeks in advance, but also unique stories about the characters of NeveN. If you like the VN, please also feel free to rate us on the itch.io. It will help us a lot. Once again, big thanks to all of you, and see you soon. Okay, so that was chapter 6 for Akhet. So I enjoyed this part here, them getting closer and closer together. I couldn't show that scene, but it's basically them touching each other. You know what I mean? They're touching each other, so that's what that scene was. Hey, so this noble that Akhet has a history with, he fears her because she doesn't treat him good, and it really shook him so much he had to leave that meeting they had with Lady Astrid. So he went out of there, and this person he knows is supposed to come to Frostfang. Now I wonder what will happen if she sees Eric with his brand. Will he go back to Akhet and tell them about it? Or maybe they already know about it. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking. And it looks like Lady Astrid has decided to move on from that incident with Eric. See what he wants to just move on from it and think about the future with Eric, about, now that he's part of the nobility, technically. I mean, he is technically part of the nobility now, along with Lady Astrid and Akhet. He's a noble too. So we got to learn a bit more about Akhet and the slavery stuff, and it's not good. And I think his father punished the slaves because Akhet decided to be nice to them instead of punishing Akhet himself. So it's not a good system over there. So I really enjoyed this chapter. They really are getting close together as a couple. Well, maybe not a couple, but their relationship is slowly but surely developing. And I think for people to eventually become a couple and have a stable relationship, that's something that is needed. They spend time with each other, and you gradually get to know each other more. And over time, you two feel more comfortable sharing your feelings with each other, and then you two have sex, make love, Hey, so that's chapter 6 for Akhet. All the other characters will be getting their versions of chapter 6 in the months coming, so thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.